My mother, Mrs. Leela Moses, has been staying with us in Vellore since 2008 after my father died. She is now 92 years old. Over the past few weeks, we have been noticing that she was slowing down in her walk, speech, and thinking ability, but she was still able to manage her affairs independently. On August 2nd, Sunday, she listened to Peniel online worship service and took part in communion. She went to sleep that night as usual. On Monday, August 3rd morning, around 4:30 a.m., when my wife came downstairs, she heard my mother calling out to her. She found her on the floor leaning against the bed with her walker nearby. We managed to lift her to the bed. She was complaining of severe headache and soon vomited. She was also disoriented. My wife wondered if she had a stroke. I checked her BP, it was 200 millimeters systolic. We contacted her doctor Soumya who suggested nifedipine stat. By 8 a.m. she was little better, her BP had come down and she was able to walk to the dining table. But the headache and vomiting persisted. She developed mild fever around noon and also tremors in her left hand. Dr. Soumya suggested we admit her. We admitted her in A ward, but because of the fever, she had to be tested for corona infection and kept in surgical HDU overnight till the result came. On the way to surgical HDU, they took a CT scan of head, which showed a large bleed in her brain on the right side with intraventricular extension. We did not opt for surgery considering her age. The corona test came back as negative and she was shifted to KN semi ICU. My brother managed to get e-pass and reach Vellore by Tuesday evening. My mother was able to recognize and smiled at him. Cerebral edema was developing. We were warned that the brain swelling reaches its maximum after 5 days, and only after that they would be able to tell what her condition will be. She had by then developed left hemiparesis, and over the next few days her condition worsened. I was going through my mind the events of the past few months. We had undertaken some renovation work in our house in February this year. To avoid the dust, we had shifted my mother to Dr. Jacob Chacko and Bharati's house nearby, who were then in Vatanjatram. But the corona pandemic and the lockdown stopped the renovation work midway, and she had to stay in Dr. Jacob's house for 4 months. It was very kind of Dr. Jacob and Bharati to have allowed her to stay in their house for such a long time. We shifted my mother back home on July 1st, the day our son Emmanuel got admitted in CMC with corona infection. By God's grace, Emmanuel recovered and rejoined duty on July 23rd. Now my mother had developed brain hemorrhage. I was wondering whether I would ever get to see her again in the same mental and physical state I had known till August 3rd morning. The verse that came to me was from Isaiah 43:18 and 19. Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the desert and streams in the wasteland. So I realized that instead of thinking about the past and feeling sad and depressed, our God gives us hope to look forward to new things. That kept me going when she was in the hospital. My mother made remarkable recovery considering the amount of bleeding in the brain parenchyma. She is back home, eating by herself, able to walk slowly with a walker and verbalize her needs. She even joined a Bible study group last Thursday on Zoom and was able to recognize and call her group members by name. Her cognition is still poor and she needs help 24/7. We thank God for the measure of improvement in her health and thank the church for their support and prayers.